Am I the butt-face for not wanting to apologize to my boyfriend's son after I picked up my toothbrush when he was at his dad's? Trigger warnings: abusive relationship, financial abuse, age gap in relationships, family conflict, emotional manipulation, mention of pedophilia, indirect, intense emotional distress, unhealthy relationship dynamics, reference to parental abuse, potential threats and stalking. I, 19M, have been in a relationship with Henry for a while now. I moved into his place last year after another bad fight with my dad. Things have been going relatively smooth for the most part, except when it comes to visitors. Henry has 2 sons, Chris, 26M, and Junior, 29M. Chris visits 2 or 3 times a month and I'd consider us friends. When he's here he usually comes early and stays the day, just to check in and help me with some chores until his dad gets home. Junior, on the other hand, doesn't seem to like me very much. I don't think he's really accepted that his dad is gay, so he can get mad when I'm here. He's only visited a couple of times before, and they all ended up with him glaring at me and my boyfriend. Before his second-to-last visit in January, we had a sort of mutual civility other than his glaring. During the second-to-last visit, it ended in a screaming match with Henry about me. He really doesn't like that I'm there. So Chris broke up with his girlfriend Emily, F27. They left on a good note, so he decided to let her live in their apartment until his lease ended and they can both move somewhere else. Chris lives closer to our place than Junior's, so for the first couple of days he crashed here. 2 days ago, Junior came to pick Chris and his stuff up from the house. Knowing this and how upset Junior is with my presence, I asked Henry if I should go out to my friend's place. He agreed, so I packed my night bag and left. Turns out I forgot my toothbrush. I remembered it when I was still only a couple minutes away from the house, so I circled back to go get it. People were asking why I didn't just buy one, but Henry handles the finances and holds the debit card. I had cash, but I was saving it for food. I went inside the front without seeing anyone and went upstairs to grab it. Coming down, a very pissed Junior was staring at me from the bottom of the stairs. Turns out he parked in the back. He started to yell again, especially at Henry. Chris shuffled me out of the house and offered to take me back to my dad's place, which was really odd since I was pretty sure he knew about our bad relationship, so I just went back to my friend's place. A couple days later, I'm back at Henry's, and he's asking me to apologize and or talk to Junior. He seems really persistent on it, but I don't think I did anything wrong, even if apologizing would just be to keep the peace. Junior kind of scares me now. I don't want to apologize, but I don't want to damage Henry's relationship with Junior. Relevant comments. Kid, you got bigger problems than a toothbrush. For the love of God, walk away from your abuser. You are a child and he is a man old enough to be your father, maybe even your grandfather. Of course his kids don't like you, they recognize how incredibly f up and absolutely disgusting this is. You have your whole life ahead of you. Do you have a job? If not, get one. Check out community college. Enroll in a trade program or take some aptitude testing for a full degree course. Get the hell out. Comment. You absolutely should. You were 7 when you went into their care. They denied you the opportunity to find a real family who love you for you, and not the money you brought in. F them. You deserve better. OP replied. I'm sorry, I'll add his in. M50. And no, he makes the money so it's his, that's why he has the debit card. I have some cash from some odd jobs, so he doesn't have it all. Comment. Financials abuse, toxic relationship, hateful stepkids. Holy age difference Batman, Junior is 10 years older than you. Your partner must be nearly retirement age. And you only 19. Update 1. I read all the comments on the last post. They made me feel weird with myself, so I didn't respond to a lot of them. I thought it was just something to sleep off and brush off later, but that night with Henry was really uncomfortable for me. It just got worse after the next 2. Henry was still being really persistent about me apologizing to Junior throughout those days, so I got his number and called him that morning. I went in the other room and apologized to Junior. He said he wasn't mad at me but kind of responded tiredly, so I wasn't sure what to make of that. Then it sounded like he was starting to segue into what you guys were saying. I got scared and hung up on him before he started the spiel, then blocked him. It took me a couple hours after Henry left for work to unblock him and call him back. Yeah, he was saying what the comments were. I wish I could say I listened really well and voiced my opinion, but I just started f-balling. Long hour of him trying to calm me down on the other end of the call and me blubbering short. I agreed to go visit his, and Chris's, as of right now, place for the weekend for a small break, starting Friday afternoon. He was pretty insistent on having Chris pick me up. I told Henry certain parts of the conversation when he got home. He was very happy that I made up with Junior, and thought having me stay with them for the weekend was a great idea. Thursday ended with another uncomfortable night. I'm at Chris and Junior's now. I think Henry has noticed Chris took more than a weekend's worth of clothes for me, which I didn't realize until this morning, and has started texting me and asking when I'll be back. I haven't responded, so he's starting to ask if we could call. I don't know what's happening. I really don't. I just wanted to know what to do about my boyfriend's son not liking me, and now I'm lost. I really love him. He loves me too. I'm sure if I asked him, he'd let me get a job or even go to a community college. But literally everyone else has been calling our relationship creepy. Even his own sons. Relevant comments. He'd let me get a job or go to college. Yes, so that's not how healthy relationships work. You don't need their permission to live your life. Comment. It is creepy. His sons are too old to be dating a 19-year-old. You shouldn't need anyone's permission to get a job or go to school. You don't love him. You love the idea of being loved and cared for and being in a stable relationship in a loving home. But he can never give that to you. He doesn't love you. He loves that you'll believe anything he says and do everything he tells you to. He loves that he can control you. His sons are trying to protect you. They obviously know something about him that you don't, likely how badly he treats his partners once he feels he has them trapped. Update 2. I feel weird making an update because at this point to me it's like, oh, look at me. But I felt weirder knowing that people were still concerned after my last post. I don't like making people feel crappy. I'm safe, I'm healthy, yes I've been crying, no I'm not proud of it, it's messy but I've been working on it. I'm still at juniors. It's been peaceful. He folds his socks oddly. I've been trying to find another place for me to go. I don't want to be a burden for the next eternity. Or witness whatever the hell he's doing to his socks. It's also kind of awkward living with your boyfriend's son. At least it feels like it to me in my head. He hasn't done anything that makes me feel that way. I could go back to my father's, but quite frankly I really don't want to. A friend suggested contacting my extended family. That's an option, but I honestly don't know them very well. The last time I've seen any of them was at a funeral over a decade ago. Plus, they're 3 states away. The best option I have right now is getting a job that makes enough for me to rent a room. I've been looking, but it hasn't been easy. It's difficult to get an actual full job at my age during the summer. Since I live in a college town/area, everyone assumes I'll quit right before the college's semester starts, even if I tell them otherwise. Of course I'm going to keep trying. Until I get enough for consistent rent, I'll need to couchsurf. I'll be fine. I have a couple of friends who've offered to let me stay at their places before I even asked. I'll make sure to not overstay my welcome before going to the next friend's house. I haven't told Junior yet, but I'm sure he'll be happy to have his apartment back to himself and teenager-free at his old, very old, nearly 30 age. Henry has been calling and texting me. The most I've done is respond to some texts. I've been declining 99% of his calls for now. The extra 1% was when his texts got pretty desperate. I don't have any plans on going back to his place right now. But he's been consistently offering to pay for me to attend our local, and pretty big, college. I know he can afford it. I'm not saying I would go for it, I'm just saying it'd be pretty easy to stick out another 4 years for that amount of money, and then ditch him a couple 10,000s per. So I'm almost sure that relationship's over and through. Thank you all for your help. I needed to get hit over the head with some common sense. I hope you're all happy and well. Minor mention of creeps to kids, except for those 2 commenters who started to say that adults having romantic relationships with certain age groups under 18 wouldn't be classified as pedophilia and oddly stood their ground. Seek professional mental help immediately. Or the FBI? Relevant comments. If he has at least a decent amount of empathy, I think he'd be much happier knowing that you're healthy and safe, and I don't think he would mind it if that meant that you needed to stay for a little longer. I know this feels like a personal problem and that you need to solve this on your own, but I think most adults would be willing to lend you a hand if you asked for it. Comment. I remember your first thread and was so scared for your safety. A 50-year-old dating a teenager is just icky, on top of having financial manipulation/control over them. I'm glad you're getting away from this horrible person. Please start therapy as soon as you can. Update 3. So you guys were right. Junior looked at me as if I was insane when I apologized for being a burden and promised I'd start looking for another place to live. He said if I felt uncomfortable in any way, I'd be free to go. Otherwise, he doesn't mind having me around. I told him I didn't like being a freeloader, but that I do like it there. I didn't say this to him, but I don't remember ever feeling that at ease anywhere else. He told me if it was a thing about freeloading, I could pay him rent by helping with some chores and starting community college. While I agreed to those terms, that sounded crazily easy, and I told him I was looking for a job that I could pay rent with once I had enough money. Chris heard about my job search and helped me get a job. He had some friends at an animal daycare that needed extra staff. All I have to do on my shift is take care of dogs. And pet dogs. And play with dogs. I literally can't think of a better job I could have gotten right now. It wasn't full-time, but eventually I made enough to give a small bit of rent to Junior. He looked me dead in the eyes and handed it back saying it was payment for the housework. Pissed me off. This went on for 2 weeks. I gave up. The best I can do is pay for groceries sometimes and stay on the track to community college. I feel like I'm definitely doing some type of scamming, but at this point Junior deserves it. I tried. We did what comment suggested. Port your current number to a burner phone. Change the number on your current phone. Give the burner phone to Junior and ask him to hide it somewhere you will never find it. Let Junior monitor in case Henry is planning something weird. Luckily my phone is one of the few things Henry didn't pay for, and my dad still pays for my phone. He's made no move of stopping. I'm not sure if that's from guilt or what, but he's fine with it. There is some news on Henry. Apparently he's been asking my friends where I am, and they never thought about telling me about it. I never thought he'd go that far now since I heard he has a new boyfriend, but here we are. A good bit of my friends are fine with us splitting, but some have varying views on it. A couple of them have tried to convince me that Henry at least deserves an in-person explanation and breakup. Pretty much all of them that I didn't know before Henry have been talking that way. One of them, Jack, 24M, short for Jackass, told Henry where I was after Henry asked him again. The lion, the witch, and the audacity of that bee. Henry showed up unannounced last week. We just finished taking groceries in, so the door was still unlocked. I don't really know what happened after that. Junior told me to go wait in my room and that everything would be fine. At that point I was too shocked and wanted to dissociate from the situation, so I put my earbuds in and started watching YouTube with the door closed. From what I could hear, they were arguing, but it was all muffled for me. Sorry Reddit, can't give you the drama on their conversation. I failed you, Jay. I didn't really realize Henry left until Junior's girlfriend, Sarah, 28F, showed up with takeout. Over dinner she said Junior was out somewhere finishing the conversation with Henry out in public. Junior came back a bit later and promised that Henry wouldn't be back. Cryptic as hell, but he probably just threatened him with the cops. Probably. I was nervous the following 2 days and found myself borderline insane with checking the peephole, windows, and locks on the windows and doors. I think Junior and Sarah noticed, because Sarah offered for me to hang out at her place, i.e. a place Henry doesn't know the address to, while our place was empty. I've been doing that. It's nice. I hope her relationship with Junior continues to work, because I really like her dog. If any bridges are burned I'll be breaking in to pet him, and that's really a hassle. I had no idea how Henry found out where I was until Jack called me this morning to apologize. I don't think I'll be speaking to him again. I haven't told anyone yet, but I will tomorrow. It stings a bit. I thought we were good friends. Also, Chris talked me into doing some online therapy about a month and a half ago. It's been good. He says it's free because of some charity, but I'm calling BS. He's definitely paying. I'll just have to work harder to get my life on track to make sure his wallet doesn't lose weight for nothing.